Good afternoon, traders and investors. Will back here with another one. Hope you guys had a great day today. It was CPI inflation day today, and it did come in a bit hotter than expected, guys. As we've been predicting on the channel, August and September were due to be inflation uptick months. So we did get that, but all is not as bad as it seems. So we're going to go over our inflation data, going to go over our major indexes, of course, our major tech names, and lastly, a quick look at my portfolio because we did swap around just a few positions here today. So without further ado, guys, let's get into it right away. SPY up 0.12% on the day. QQQ up 0.38%. It was a bit of an eventful day here today, and the beginning and the end of the day, but in the middle, not so much happened here. So as you guys can see here on the heat map, we did have a fairly mixed day on the day with most of our big tech names up except for Apple. Apple once again dragging down our market a bit here. Healthcare a bit mixed and financials mixed as well, even though they did end pretty much green on the day here or roughly flat here. If you look on the one-day relative performance for our group sectors here, you'll see market was fairly mixed, led by utilities, but on the downside, led by real estate here and pretty much everything else mixed in the middle here. So a bit of a mixed day, bit of a non-event day as we did trade within yesterday's pretty much candle. And today's CPI day was supposed to be a bit more volatile in my opinion, especially considering we did get a hotter than the estimate number, but markets not reacting. And I think, guys, that is due to the fact that because even though inflation did come in a bit hotter, it will translate into next week's Fed meeting here of being pretty much a non-change event for the Fed here, meaning that inflation didn't uptick significantly to change the probabilities. The probabilities for next week, I'll remind you, remain set at 97% that the Fed will not have a hike into this meeting. And obviously the next meeting is in November, which is where they're supposed to do their last potential 0.25% interest rate hike. So let's get into our CPI here and see exactly what we're dealing with here, guys. So bit of a mixed report here, but good as a whole. Not going to lie, very pleased with the report despite it coming in higher. So you'll see consumer price index rose 0.6% on the month, matching forecasts here. 12-month CPI rate rose to 3.7% from 3.2 in July and 3% in June. So to represent this on a little chart here, guys, you will see that although we've been coming down here for the past 2 months, July and August, right, which is because it's always 1 month rolling behind here, you'll see ever so slight increase here. But in the grand scheme of things, guys, still doing well. Why? Because our core, which is what the Fed usually looks at more, so basically a CPI less food and energy here, has been continuing to trend down, now all the way down to 4.3%, well off of our highs of 6.3% pretty much at the same time last year, guys. So very, very good. And the meat is right in here, right? So you'll see here that the core CPI rose 0.3 versus July levels above the 0.2 forecast. Slight little uptick here. Annual core inflation rate eased to 4.3 from 4.7 in July, which I just showed you on this chart right here, 4.7 down to 4.3, guys. But here's the kicker. Core goods prices fell 0.1% on the month. Very, very, very good. Lowering the 12-month change to just 0.2%, guys. On an annual basis, 0.2% times 12, right, is going to be 2.4%, which is slightly above the Fed's target. So we're doing some good work, guys, getting back in line with our trailing 12-month expectations here. However, as we've been stating for the last 2 PCE and the last 2 CPI reports, guys, it's all coming from services. Core services prices rose 0.4 from July, right? While the 12-month change eased from 5.9% from 6.1 in the prior month here. So although services are outpacing goods to the upside on our slight little uptick here, as a whole, everything is still steadily declining. So you really love to see it, guys. I love this chart by Yahoo. I'll bring it up every single inflation report that we do get, where inflation and isn't 12-month price change. So you'll see, guys, in most of the things that people care about the most, inflation is still on a 12-month trailing basis, well above the Fed's target here of 2%, right? So you'll see rent is a major contributor here, still up 7.8% from last year. Restaurant meals still high, 6.5%. Personal care, housing in the high fives. Pet and pet products still up there, guys. This has been a sticky one here. 5% of the upside. Company earnings, of course, 4.3% to the upside. That's good for the stock market. However, overall inflation down to your 3.7% here. Slight little uptick. It really bottomed out here in the June reading at 3% here. And now you'll see, guys, a lot of things have been steadily declining, trending lower towards the 2% target here. So alcohol, recreation, clothing, hotel rooms, groceries, new vehicles, education, all that stuff is pretty much coming down here. We do have a few deflationary items as well, right? So electronics now to the downside here, guys, right? Household energy, right? So electricity and whatnot still coming down. Gasoline, even though gasoline was a major contributor, oil prices have been a major contributor to this month's inflation uptick, guys, okay? But still, on a 12-month trailing basis, it is still negative here. And obviously, furniture, used vehicle, rental cars, and airfare still major contributors to the downside here. So very, very, very decent as a whole, guys, even though oil prices and gasoline have contributed largely to this inflation report. Not so bad in the grand scheme of things, guys. I like it. It just goes to show, guys, that inflation is still on a downward trend despite our slight seasonal uptick here because of summer spending. In the last 2 months, people are spending more on experiences as they continue to travel and go for entertainment, right? But all of these things, guys, are trending in the right direction here. So the Fed does not have to take aggressive action. That is the moral of the story. So let's get into our major indexes at this point, guys. So we're going to take a look at SPY here. SPY in a bit of a tightening range at this point, guys. So we're kind of trapped here. The two levels that you really want to look out for here, 443 to the downside. If they break 443, it will be a daily downtrend, and then we'll have to look higher for further weekly consolidation towards our 12 EMA here. But if we crack Monday's high, guys, they will be able to set up a slight new daily uptrend here. We were looking for this daily uptrend to be maintained, but now at this point, guys, they've kind of lost the possibility to do this in one shot here. So we may have to two-step this and move higher, guys, for potentially continuation on the weekly move here. So QQQ levels, market is in a bit of a tightening range here. The break is going to be absolutely crucial because it's going to give us the information we need to determine what's going to happen for the rest of the month of September, in my opinion, guys, because a break in either of the directions here is going to be crucial for weekly moves here, for weekly continuation into the last 2 weeks of September and leading into October. So keep an eye on that, but fairly muted on the day. QQQ now. QQQ, same concept, right? Daily uptrend, got the higher low, wasn't able to make a higher high. Now we're consolidating slightly. So basically a very tight inside range here. Going to be very important, guys. 369.30 at this point, and your little range up here, 377.60. Break one of the two, and it will set the tone for the remainder of the month here. So very, very crucial. Break it to the downside. You get daily downside continuation. We have to then look for more weekly consolidation and target these lows as our level of line in the sand level for support. But if you break Monday's close to the high here, we will start recapturing, guys, a bit more of our weekly move to the upside here, and the weekly upswing does continue here. So very, very crucial next few days in the markets, in my opinion here. But as of today, really muted movement on the whole week so far, guys. XLF financials, really flat day. As you can see, no change, but we did push higher on the morning, right? It was a very volatile day in financials as a whole. You can see that pre-market, we kind of gapped up, gave back pretty much all the way to 1%, and then we kind of recaptured it here into the end of the day. So ending flat on the day. Financials not set up too bad here, guys. We have set the daily uptrend in motion at this point, right? So if we do pull back, guys, we still got a nice amount of space. Anything above 34 pretty much is just going to be for a daily higher low for potential continuation. Since we're in a daily uptrend, guys, your weekly upswing is still in motion. This little section right here does look like SPY and QQQ on the weekly. So market is definitely trending in the right direction here. Financials following its peers, right? So we'll see what they can do, but a bit of a slide here today, especially on names like Charles Schwab. And Charles Schwab, I did take advantage here of the drop here. Top to bottom was almost 4% on Charles Schwab to write a little put option here in the $57 range, because I do believe Charles Schwab still represents some of the best value on the US banking side as a whole, guys. So we're going to keep that in mind for XLF here. XLF crucial to see, can the bulls continue this move? But whenever this move tops up, I'll remind you, just looking for a daily higher low as we are in a daily uptrend here. XLV Healthcare. XLV Healthcare doing absolutely nothing here at the lower end of consolidation here, but maintaining above this little wide range that I've marked down here with these two yellow lines. So we're still trading within that range here, guys, but bulls with a lot of work to do here, guys, need to create a more space here to eventually set the daily higher low and rise. If they want to do it all the way down here, guys, it's going to be tough, because if you do it in this area here, it's still the bears territory. They have a good opportunity with a few bad days to potentially flush here. So we're really going to need to see the bulls put in a bit more effort here and really come back, sit on this 132.70 level and really recreate the daily uptrend, just like financials have done in the previous chart I've showed you. On the weekly downtrend is confirmed at this point, so we will need a full bull reversal to get this back into a weekly uptrend here. On the monthly, still a monthly tightening range here, guys. So we're still kind of holding within the tops here. This looks like a massive range, but in the grand scheme of things, guys, this is really, really tiny, right? If you look at this whole range here, it's only about a 4% range in the grand scheme of things, right? So not very, very volatile as a whole as a sector. I like the fact that the sector as a whole is holding near the highs and that we're still only about, 6-7% off of all-time highs. The problem is we've been trapped in this range here for a better part of the last 2 years. So eventually going to need to see the bulls, especially if you guys want SPY to start trending towards all-time highs. Going to need it from financials, healthcare, and the Dow Jones. Technology has already put in enough work. It's time for the rest of the market to start doing some of the lifting here. IWM Russell, still one of our weakest sectors here, right? So Russell 2000, really, really, really weak. Bulls losing the capacity to capture this daily uptrend. The bears setting a new daily downtrend. Daily downtrend, what do we look out for? We're looking now on the weekly levels, okay, guys? Dangerously close to 181.74. This is the line in the sand level to me. Flush this level here, you are in a weekly downtrend. What does a weekly downtrend mean? Further monthly consolidation. Anything above 168.79 is going to be for your monthly higher low. We do have a decent amount of support down here in this 180 pocket, but it just sucks to see that the bears are really controlling this chart as a whole. Obviously, we're still trapped within this pretty much 1.5 year range right here. Bulls just not able to really break through and break above, guys. And on the market internals, I mean, IWM Russell lagging behind here. Yes, it's notable to me, but the proportion of stocks that are trapped within this range, right? You have to remember, guys, that these small cap stocks, a lot of them are either barely profitable or not profitable at all. And this is just not the environment for these things to fly, right? High rates, high inflation, these companies potentially having to reissue more debt or reissue more stock, which dilutes the stocks, which is why this unfortunately has not been able to rise with the rest of the market here. So key level approaching here, guys. The bulls have to restart everything from scratch, have to get a bounce, reset the daily uptrend, and go. But as of now, guys, bears in short-term control here and potentially even in weekly control if they do get that flush. All right, looking at the Dow Jones here, right? So Dow Jones here, guys, also struggling, right? Really, really, really struggling here on the Dow Jones, guys, kind of developing a tightening range at this point, guys. Line in the sand level for me remains 34,300. Flush this and you end up with a new daily downtrend. New daily downtrend would mean further weekly consolidation. And then we'd be looking really at the crucial level of 34,000, guys. Very, very crucial, because if you flush that, you would end up with a weekly downtrend. But as of now, guys, fairly muted on the day. What I need to see the bulls do at this point, guys, is set a new daily higher low here and crack yesterday's high. They could set up a new daily uptrend, guys, because as of now, right, just a tightening range. So eventually we're going to be looking for this tightening range to break to the bulls for further continuation. Why? They still control the weekly, right? This is still a weekly uptrend. Weak as of the last, it's weak in terms of the movement as of the last few weeks. But on the monthly, they do still control the monthly. So it is still a long-term bullish bias. So that's why I'm going with the bullish bias on this one. I need to see them accumulate using this whole area as support, right? This line that's been acting as support for a while now, right? Which was previous resistance. So I'm going to need to see them tighten up here and potentially give us a break to the upside here. Keep in mind, Dow Jones, kind of like healthcare, right? Really not far away from our all-time highs, only about 6%. So even though this does look like a bit of a taper off by the bulls here in the grand scheme of things, guys, I mean, we're performing fairly decently, so I can't criticize them too much, but just need to see the bulls recapture these lower time frames here. Now let's move on to big tech. Big tech, Apple. Apple losing again on the day, guys, getting dangerously close to setting the daily downtrend, potentially losing the weekly, right? So these two levels are going to be absolutely crucial. I'll explain why here. So if you lose this 174 area here, or pretty much this 173.79, which we're almost there, right? If you lose this, you set up the daily downtrend. and the daily downtrend being set, you look up to the weekly, but the problem is the weekly is super close. The weekly lows are super close. Flush that 172 area, you get a weekly downtrend on Apple, something that has not happened, I'll remind you, since pretty much October of last year, right? Weekly downtrend set here. This would be the first weekly downtrend in almost a year on Apple. It's had some very good gains here, but could be giving a bit away. Coming into my sweet spot, 175 down to 168, right? This area should represent some decent support as it was previous all-time resistance. So we're going to count on the bulls to use that as support here. On the monthly, still just monthly consolidation on Apple. So we will see how the month in September closes. Still a good 2 weeks until that happens here. But bulls working with a lot of space on the longer time frame, guys. So you shouldn't be worried on the longer time frames. Bulls still control this. It's just Apple's been getting hit with a few bad news elements. Bad earnings, right? And then bad China data, right? So those two little factors here are preventing the bulls from doing what they usually do when Apple is not subject to these company-specific news events and just grind higher, as Apple represents most institutional investors' largest positions, especially if they want to match SPY and QQQ exposure. So keep a very close eye on those two levels here. You need to see the bulls put in a save here, and the only time they'll be able to say this, I need to see a save above 180.25 at this point for the bulls to put in space, negate this daily downtrend attempt, and reset a daily uptrend. That will be step one. So we're going to watch this closely. But Apple, I may even be assigned some shares because I do have the 175 short puts here. So if we do get assigned some shares, we will be selling calls on Apple. Am I sad? No, this is my sweet spot. This is where I am personally buying. So quite pleased that I am able actually to pick up a few shares of Apple here if we do continue falling into this area here. Going to be a great area, in my opinion, to pick up some Apple shares. And in the next few weeks, month, 2 months, I think it will be a very decent trade here. AMD putting in some good work on the day, guys. AMD getting all the way up to around 108.50 here today. That's exactly what I want them to do. I want to see them get back above this 107 resistance line, right? So now we're back above it. We're slightly above this 12 EMA. If you can barely see it here, this 12 EMA, good confluence. So we're getting back above these levels, guys, here. I would love to see AMD maintain this little upswing that they've got going here for the next 2 days and start really testing this 111.55 area. They're going for the daily trend change. So now the line in the sand level for me remains 103.22. This is your daily higher low right here. And now we're trying for the daily trend change. You're going to need to see a break of 111.50 area for that to happen. But some good movement today on AMD bulls. I was able to close my AMD position on the 99 puts today. So fairly decent move here. What are we trying to do? We're trying to reverse the daily. We're also trying to reverse the weekly. Right? So as long as this can stay in a daily uptrend here, trend higher, the better the bulls have a chance of potentially reversing into a weekly uptrend at this point on AMD. So we're going to watch this closely, right? Still trapped as of this point, guys. So key level here, 111.50, and then to the downside, 103.20. Don't want to see them lose 103.20 because it'll just start a new daily downtrend, and we'll be targeting my sweet spot once again. But I can't complain, guys. The longer it stays down here, the more that I can write options in this area. Really like it. Amazon, monster day here on Amazon as well. 2.56% carrying the market. Amazon has been for the last pretty much 4 or 5 trading days, right? So beautiful daily move on Amazon, right? Daily uptrend is very powerful at this point. They have tons of space, guys. Anything above 134, any little drop here above 134 is going to be for daily consolidation, right? Daily higher low for further continuation. And now they're even getting above this previous resistance area too. So if we do pull back, guys, there's going to be some good support here right around the 140 area, right? So Amazon, where are we looking now that the daily uptrend is confirmed? 145, almost there. This is this guy right here. If we blast through 145, watch out. The only resistance area left after that, guys, is back up to 170, which is fairly close to the all-time highs, right? So Amazon, very good performance on Amazon. Weekly uptrend, very healthy. Daily uptrend, very healthy as well. Bulls in full control. Absolutely love to see it. So just watch that. Whenever this move tops out, guys, completely safe. Just looking for a daily higher low and for further continuation. No red flags on Amazon. Love to see it. Now let's move down to Google. Google also putting in somewhat of a decent day here, 1%, right? Saving this, kind of looking like SPY and QQQ, right? bit of a tightening range at the top here. No real red flags whatsoever. Google does have a fairly decent uptrend, and I like the fact that they're consolidating at the top end of this move. That is what you want to see. This is a bull flag, right? Little bull flag on the weekly. When you see something consolidate at the highs like this without losing much, it is a weekly bull flag for potential future continuation. You love to see events like that where the bears can barely take back, right? The bears can barely take back any of this move. Why? As I've been saying, guys, we've been using this 134 area here. Very powerful, right? It's been resistance in the past, going to be acting as support. We have the 12 EMA as well. So we'll see if Google can get it done here and really blast. I need to see a push through 138.57 here, right? And if for ever which reason we lose the 134 area at this point, you could argue that this is a slight daily downtrend, but at that point, we'll be looking for a weekly pullback and the bulls with a lot of space to work with, guys, anything above pretty much 128. So really no red flags on Google. I like this stock. I would not be surprised if we do continue to the upside. Upside target on Google remains 145 future resistance here, okay? Now let's move down to Meta. Meta, decent little day as well, up 1%, but kind of trading inside pretty much Monday and Tuesday's trading here. So not much change on Meta. The technicals don't change at all. We're in a daily uptrend here. As soon as this move tops out and we start trailing back here, anything above 277, it's just going to be looking for a daily higher low. They can set it sideways like this and eventually crack, guys, but I'm going to need to see a crack of 308 for really this to be considered a two-leg move here at this point, right? And I need to see a break of 308. The more obviously of this move that the bulls can capture back, the happier I'll be, because I was not satisfied for the past 3 weeks how much of this move the Meta bulls were able to recapture. Now, as they grind higher, guys, it starts to look better and better and better. You want to put as much space between you and this 275 weekly low as possible, right? So Meta, not much change here, kind of grinding higher, nothing to really comment on the technicals. Just keep an eye out, 277. If we do pull back, guys, decent amount of space to just reset the daily uptrend to the upside and continue this little weekly push up here. So Meta performing semi-decently. Microsoft, beautiful day on Microsoft, 1.3%, kind of like Meta though, kind of trading within pretty much Monday and even Friday's trading, right? So not much action here on Microsoft. Their bulls are just kind of grinding higher, grinding above these EMAs here, pretty much algorithmic trading if you ask me. Line in the sand remains 319.12. If we do pull back, anything above that will just be for a daily higher low here. Very possible that we just trade sideways here and then potentially pop, but just similar to Meta, I'll need to see a break of Monday's high to really get us into new territory here. Microsoft doing the same thing as Meta has been, grinding away this bearish move here, right? So want to see them come up as high as possible, right? So that they can either V-shape this entire move or at least get enough space here to two-step this move into a new weekly uptrend here. The monthly looking fairly decent on Microsoft, if I do say so myself as well. So no red flags as of yet, guys. Just keep an eye on your lower levels here or the break of Monday to really start gaining some momentum on Microsoft. NVIDIA here, trading slightly below our moving averages here, trading back above 450, right? So 450, I'll remind you here, was our crucial line in the sand level. You can see that as of today's trading, we're back above it, right? So they did lose the daily uptrend. The NVIDIA bulls now have to set a new daily uptrend if they do break above higher here. If they're not able to do that, if they do kind of just puddle around here and kind of move lower into a daily downtrend, I'll remind you the key line in the sand level then becomes 404. That is your weekly higher low. NVIDIA bulls looking fairly decent, guys. I mean, we lost a key crucial level here, 450, right? But we've been playing with it now for 5 trading days. Just goes to show you the reluctance of bulls to give up important levels even on the daily time frame here. So great job by NVIDIA bulls in playing defense. Obviously, they've lost the 450, recaptured it. Now need to see a bounce as close as possible to 500 to give themselves space, recreate a daily uptrend here. If we continue lower, it's just weekly consolidation. Weekly uptrend is still confirmed. Just looking for a weekly higher low for potential future continuation on NVIDIA here. So we'll see how NVIDIA plays out here, but really 2 levels are key. Need to get as close as possible to 500, set the new daily uptrend here, get back above these moving averages, or if we trend lower in a daily downtrend, watch out, 404 is crucial. Now let's move down to Tesla. Tesla playing the bears at this point, playing good defense, right? Not allowing the bulls to just run away with this thing. But I like it because our lower time frames are not really overbought anymore after Monday's powerful 10-11% move here, right? You can see the hourly's not overbought, the 4 hours not overbought anymore. So it gives the bulls a good chance to consolidate in this higher area here, hold up as much as these gains as possible, and potentially make a move here, guys, for this little gap area. 287 will be that gap fill. So Tesla kind of doing nothing on the day, muted pretty much since Monday, but that's not a bad thing. If the bulls can hold the high of this move, right, it becomes a pretty much daily bull flag, right? The less that they can give back of this move, daily bull flag, looking for the higher low for potential continuation of the upside, right? Beautiful daily uptrend, I'll remind you, just looking for a daily higher low to then move higher and start grinding away at this gap area after earnings here, all the way up to 287. So good job by the bulls. Not much to report today because there's no real change on the price action here. And on the weekly, I'll remind you, weekly is looking very good for Tesla at this point, guys. Tesla bulls now from this whole move down have recaptured pretty much almost 80% with Monday's move of the entire move. So very good space to create a new weekly uptrend if we do pull back from here, right? I'm very, very satisfied in Tesla's movement. Tesla looking quite solid, if I do say so myself. Your monthly bulls are looking absolutely beautiful. The weekly bulls have now created a lot of space to set up for a weekly trend change, and your daily bulls are in control here. So no red flags on Tesla whatsoever. Very good performance here, but even if we do pull back, I'll remind you, slight gap to be filled here, and 260 could provide a good area of confluence. Previous resistance area, which could act as support, and the 12 EMA if we do pull back there on Tesla. So good job by Tesla bulls. Now, Palantir here, right? Doing absolutely nothing, guys, for a better part of the last week and a half of trading here. The levels remain set 1630 or 1370, right? Crucial levels. Can we break above 2 weeks ago high 1640 and start eating away at most of these moves, right? Not able to do too much on the bull side as of yet, guys. It is looking like a weekly bear flag for further continuation of the downside here. Palantir really need to see the bulls prove something to us, right? But until they break this tightening range one way or the other, guys, it's going to be very tough to predict what's in store for Palantir, especially when we're caught in this tightening range. Give me a break here and trend to the downside. I can say, okay, weekly bear flag is in motion, probably looking out and targeting this 1377, and flush that, you just get monthly consolidation. I'll be looking for shares down here. And then on conversely, if we break 1630, I can say, okay, your weekly move is continuing. The bears are creating enough space. So if we do pull back for 2-3 weeks into October here, could set up for a potential weekly trend change to the upside. But as of now, guys, not enough data to make a slight prediction. And PayPal up on the day, ever so slightly, quite flat, but putting some decent space here. 60.4 is your new daily higher low at this point, right? So going to be looking for the bulls to crack above 64.17. Give me a break of that. Your daily uptrend does continue to the upside here. Want to see them pull into the 64.65 range. Why? Because I want to see them set up for the weekly trend change just like this. As of now, not enough space, in my opinion, created, kind of hovering sideways for the past 2 weeks. So I do need to start seeing them pull up higher, create enough space so that if we do get weekly consolidation here, we can then move higher on the day here on PayPal. But PayPal, decent day here. Just don't want to see a break of 60.40 because you would set up the daily downtrend and into weekly consolidation. And lastly, guys, my portfolio here, not much change here on the day. You can see that we are up currently 41.28% above the SPY here, which is roughly about 16.2% to the upside. And versus the NASDAQ here, you can see that we're outperforming them as well. So NASDAQ up about 32% on the year, and we're up about 42% here. So outperforming by about 10%. On the positions, you'll see that I've maintained most of my positions. GM is still in play. Apple is still in play. So GM, right, trading fairly bit away from our 3250 mark here. So GM now currently at 3366. So should be good on those until Friday. Apple under 175, right? Trading around 174 right now. So we are underwater on those. Won't mind being assigned on those at all. BABA, 86 puts are still in play here. I'll remind you, BABA still trading above our 86 put level, 87.64. So we'll see what happens before Friday. My assignment is down here. We'll see if they can hold up those levels right here. CSIQs, those are going to be completely worthless, guys. 25 puts that I have, right? So very happy on that. Going to be able to capture that. Currently trading 27.13 as of today. I would be surprised if we dump to $25 by Friday. It could be a possibility, but pretty sure we're going to pocket this premium as well. Tesla 260s right? Premium has been eroding steadily, so we'll see if Tesla closes above 260 on Friday, but fairly confident in that position as well. And the AMDs we did close here as well, right? So AMD 99s, I'll remind you, I sold them on Monday for 48 cents, and we were able to close them today for 4 cents, so over 90 something percent profit. That's what you want to see. And new position here, Charles Schwab, the 57s for 26 cents each, right? You'll see I have 2 of them, right? 57 puts on Schwab on the dip here. So you'll see that that is all the way down here in the 57 level, this yellow line. So we'll see if we get a sign on those. Wouldn't mind, because in the grand scheme of things, guys, this area is some pretty decent, going to be acting as some pretty decent support in my opinion. So we'll see if we can get away with those or if we get a sign. So that was pretty much everything, guys. Hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. I always love doing them for you. If you did, consider liking, consider subscribing to the channel. If you're new, I really appreciate all of your guys' engagement. And as usual, if you have any questions whatsoever, please leave them down in the comments. Any analysis on specific stocks, any options plays that you want me to go over whatsoever, any macro questions, I'm always happy to answer absolutely everything for you guys, right? And decent little week here on the account, not gonna lie. We're probably going to pocket somewhere upwards of about $800, $900 by the end of the week. I do still have some buying power. So tomorrow, if we do have a red day, I will be potentially looking to add a Tesla put, potentially another 260 or another 262.5, maybe even 265. We'll see how it goes. And AMD, if AMD pulls back, I may get cheeky with it, may try to do some 105s, 104s in that area. We'll see how it goes, but going to try to have the best week on premium as possible. So that's pretty much it, guys. As always, take care. I'll see you tomorrow after the close, and peace.